so much. And I am, you know, was softball a natural thing for you? Were you one of those guys that gravitated from, you know, hardball, you know, grape league and all of that stuff?
Oh yeah, I played baseball in the old Muni AA league.
Right.
And I played there for, I think I was probably 17, possibly 18 when I played down there. I played for Maracaibo, had a team in it. And the Steel Partition Bombers and oh God, Art Metal had a team. And so I played baseball there, and then I got into fast pitch softball. I played a lot of that.
Was there league-wise at the time? Was there a social league? I mean, what kind of leagues were there?
Well, back, yeah, they had a social league. They had an industrial league. All the factories had teams that they sponsored,
Right.
And then a social league was. I can't remember what night they played on. I think I know they played church league on Friday, so basically they played every day of the week, one league or another. I mean, there was this. I drive by on Baker Street, and I look at the Baker One right by the road.
Right.
I look at that thing and I go, boy, I'd like to have a nickel for every game I played on that field.
Yeah.
And now they got it something set up for it now. They ain't playing any ball on it. I don't think there's that much softball or anything out anymore.
I think you're absolutely right. So at some point, though, they ended up with an open league, and there were teams like Stravatos and Caesar House, and a guy like Jim Hannon. Was Mike Scarry was your manager?
Yeah.
How did he recruit his team?
I don't know. To be truthful, I don't really know. I think a lot of us guys played together one way or another or something, baseball, and then he might have come down or Tony Cardosi probably was, and his dad Phil, they ran the bar down there and they sponsored us. And
so Mike did not own Stravatos?
No.
Mike was just the manager.
He was just the manager.
Okay, got it.
And I guess a lot of guys, they just went out and asked who wanted to play and everything else. And of course, when Adam Zach's name comes up, a lot of us guys wanted to play with him because he was the best. You know.
Was that the draw? I mean, when Mike said to you, "Would you like to join us? Jim's our pitcher." So was that kind of the magnet?
Probably. Yeah. We, like I say, we we had some games, boy. I'll tell you, Stravato House and Stravato, and.
Caesar House, yeah.
Caesar House. I couldn't think of coming to me. I mean, we played one game. I don't know if you've heard about down on Jones and Gifford, and going the field set back off it right where the bar down there is a swamp.
Yeah, Jones
just
Gifford,
basically
yeah.
Across, okay. And that night we played down there, the road going into the ballpark was packed all the way down to the fields, and then all the way around the field. Back out on Jones and Gifford, both sides of the roads, quite a ways down the road down there. And we played that night. It was a hell of a game. I believe that they beat us, Stravatos 3-2, I think it was. But I know we got beat that game, but well, we had some good games.
So Jim, talk to me about your lineup. I mean, who played what, where, and kind of, can you go through that?
Well, let's see. Ronnie Newbar played first base. God, I can't remember.
His brother was a catcher, right?
Yeah.
Pete?
Pete was the catcher. Steve Pacho played third. I played short. God, I can't remember who played second base now. I think this guy right here, I think, and I can't think of his name now. Dave, I think it was Dave Fisher. That guy right there, I believe.
Yeah.
He played second. And then in the outfield, George Parsons played right field. Lefty Spetz played center. And Lefty Gustafson played left field. Or no. Lefty might have played center. And then George played right, and then Spetz played in left field. And then Adam Zach pitched. And
did Steve pitch too? I mean,
yeah, he did. He pitched. He pitched first. I can't remember exactly who he pitched for now, but he he never pitched for us.
Never did for you?
No, he didn't. He was a decent pitcher. He was a decent pitcher.
Who else pitched for you? I mean, Jim couldn't pitch every game.
Well, in the league, you know, Jim. I played in tournaments with Jim, and you know, once you got beat, you were in the losers bracket. And you played one right after another, you know. And I've seen Jim get out there and, like, say, maybe pitch 5 games, you know, and then we'd end up getting eliminated or something. But he would be throwing the ball just as hard in the 5th game as he did in the 1st one.
Wow.
Oh, he was a machine. He was a machine. He just, God, I'll tell you what, there was no, I don't know if there'll ever be another one like him, but he was a joy to play behind, you know, because you knew he was coming, you know.
Was he a pretty good hitter too?
He was a very good hitter. It seemed like it never failed, you know. We'd be playing Caesar House or something, you know, and it'd come right down to the. I believe back then we played 9 innings, not instead of 7. I think it was 9. And anyways, they come down to the 9th inning, and Jim would come up the bat, and he'd get a base hit and win the ball game, you know. And then we go down to Stravato's after, and he'd say, "Geez, when are you guys going to cut the apron strings?" You know. And I told him, one time I told him, I says, "Well, see that trophy over there, the one we won down there and everything else?" I said, "If you could look inside that trophy, you'd see me out at shortstop, going in the hole and backhanding the ball and throwing a guy out at first to save the game." And he laughed and everything over that one. But he was a joy to play with. Well, I'll tell you, I felt bad when he passed. You know, another thing about Jim, he got a little irritated when after he retired, and we have never heard anything from the Hall of Fame. Well, back in those days, you had to write up a resume and submit it to the board and that, and then they would. Well, I mean, it was a given. You know, the minute he submitted one, he was in the front door. You know, and so my wife, Olita Hannon, she was on the board. She was on the board, and she told me, and we told Jim's daughter. What's her name?
Lori.
Lori, yeah. Told Lori, you got to write up a resume for your dad because that's the requirements of the hall now. So the minute she wrote it up and submitted it, you know, he was in the front door, no doubt about it. But and he got quite mad over it in the beginning, not realizing that, you know, he figured he should have been in the Hall of Fame by all means. You know, he should have, you know. But when that got straightened out, and it was all set.
On a side, I got involved with similar situation with Johnny Newman.
Yeah.
He similarly didn't get in right away because nobody thought to do it.
Yeah.
And we did it. I know my mom and dad did that. So anyways, was there a game or two, Jim, aside from that Jones and Gifford game, where you remember saying, "This is the one I was really juiced up about. It was memorable to you"? Probably against Caesar House.
Oh yeah, we look forward to those games. I mean, it was just, because you knew you were going to have your hands full, you know. I mean, they had a good ball club. I think on their team, I think probably the best hitter on that team was Terry Woodfield. And he hit Jim real good too. You know, and Jim, you know, nailed a bunch of them. You know, I mean, struck a lot of guys out and everything else. But Terry was consistent. He hit them pretty good, you know. But we had some good games with those guys. I'll tell you, good games. You know, like in softball as opposed to baseball, you know, fast pitch especially. If you got up and let off the game with a base hit, you were laying a bunt down. The next guy was laying, number 2 hitter was laying a bunt down, advance them, you know, score, because you may win that game 1-0.
Correct.
Like they do baseball now, they don't bunt until the 9th inning. But back then, you get a base hit and you're moving them up all the time. It was a fast game, and I really liked fast pitch softball. Like now, I watch the girls play. Some of those girls are fantastic. Yeah. Oh my God, I can remember years ago when a girl picked the ball up and she'd go like that, you know, and couldn't bounce it and everything else. And those girls now, boy, I'll tell you what, they throw the ball just like a man.
Absolutely.
Oh God, they throw the ball, and I need little girls out there. They hit the hell out of the ball. God, I really enjoy watching it. You know, mainly because I played fast pitch softball and I enjoyed that. I mean, it was quite a thing playing.
What was it at the heyday of the Open League? It was sort of 65 to 75. I may be off a little bit, but kind of a 10-year period. What was its demise? Was it just it ended? This sort of disappeared. Was it lack of pitching? Was it the
pitching was the biggest thing. Yeah, pitching. Well, there just wasn't any pitching around. I mean, you know, Jim pitched and Ron Fredress, and I mean they were the two best pitchers probably, and the other teams, you know, they just had somebody just wind up and throw it over the plate or something, you know, and then get hit. But those guys, you know, they could pretty much get anybody out. But that's what happened. The pitching died, and the league just died. And then it went to modified, and modified was a lot of fun to play. You know, you could still lead off, and you could steal and all everything. You know, and that was a fun league to play.
Now, did Stravato sort of stay together when it went to the modified time period? Or?
I don't think so. I don't think they did, because a lot of guys, I was just trying to think where, oh gosh, there was a guy played for a couple of teams, and like Vera Lindquist played, and George Parsons. I think Lefty Spitz played off of Stravato's team. And the same with the other team, but they just had different sponsors.
Right.
Yeah, because like the Jock Shop, they went to the Jock Shop from Caesar House. They became the Jock Shop, and they went all over playing, and they went to a lot of national tournaments and everything. They had a good ball club. That's where most of that went. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, boy. I'll tell you. God, somebody in there, one of the guys said, "You think he could still play that game?" I said, "Well, if I hit the ball," I said, "he probably wouldn't be able to run, you know." And I said, "If somebody hit the ball at me, I might be able to get a glove on it. But throwing, I don't know about the throwing and everything else." And I remember one time I went and played old-timer baseball, and I had been playing playing softball, and I went over there and I went to throw. The first baseman was throwing the ball, and we were all throwing back over to him, you know. And I threw first when I wound up, and just like I did it playing fast pitch and that, you know, and baseball, I just get the ball and throw it, you know. And, well, geez, and I point. Then the bases are back now, you know, and I wound up, and first time I threw one over, you know. All the way to the first base. The next time I wound up, I had to throw it up like this to get it to the first base. And running the bases, oh my God. I went one time, I think the first time I got a base hit playing there, I went from first to third on the base hit. I didn't think I was ever going to get to third base. Yeah. Oh my God, the base, you know, all of a sudden the bases got long. But I had a lot of fun, boy, I'll tell you. Playing all those guys out there, you know, they were just, it's really nice tonight to see all these guys back here. A lot of them. Oh God.
Well, it's nice to see you, Jim, and I'm delighted. This is a flashback from my time period.
No, good. Good.
Thanks, Jim.
You're welcome.